This is an emergency quality control meeting. I've invited both Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and I want to do this now before free agency really gets underway and the 49ers make big mistakes. So this is for John and Kyle. I'm going to wait for them to get here. They're here. John, Kyle, thank you so much for coming at short notice. I understand you have an entire roster to work over, a team to put together, and free agency to handle, but you guys already messed up. So we need to talk right now before you do any other irreparable damage to the roster. The Juszczyk thing. What the hell are you doing? I don't get you guys. I sit you down here once a week during the season and I'm like, did you forget about your fullback? What about that guy you're spending $5 million a year on? Why don't you get him the ball? Why is he only playing 40% of your snaps? How come he only gets 2 touches a game weekly? I'm like, Kyle, use your fullback. Give the ball to Kyle Juszczyk. And sometimes you listen. Most of the time you don't. He finished with like 36 touches last season. You spent $5 million on that. And then in the offseason, now you like him. You like him in March. You don't like him during the season. You're like, I got to play this guy because I signed him. I got to give him the ball once or twice or else my quality control guy, Grant Cohn's going to really be on me. Yeah, you're right. What are you paying him for? Why the investment? He's a good player. He's a terrific player, but you don't use him. Kyle, I'm looking at you, Kyle. You don't use Kyle Juszczyk. So what's the point? $5 million a year? He played 43% of the snaps last year. You know who played more than that? Ross Dwelley. Ross Dwelley, the guy making the veteran minimum, $900,000. He played 46% of the snaps last year. Ross Dwelley. Juszczyk played 43. Dwelley played 46%. Juszczyk averaged 7 yards per target. So he was targeted 29 times, averaged 7 yards per target. Ross Dwelley averaged 10.2 yards per target, targeted 24 times, caught a higher percentage, averaged more yards per catch. Just a better receiver all around than Kyle. No question. Kyle Juszczyk, little, 6'1", doesn't have long arms, not a big target, not really someone that you can throw to down the field with much margin for error. Dwelley, 6'5", possession receiver, can catch passes in tight windows. Just a better receiver than Ross Dwelley. Again, making about a fifth of what Ross Dwelley makes, less than that. So you had a cheaper player who played more than Juszczyk, more effective as a receiver, and you bring Juszczyk back? Why was that your number one priority? You have the replacement. His name is Ross Dwelley. You say, well, Juszczyk's a better blocker. Used to be. Juszczyk was a hell of a blocker in 2017, 2018, first part of 2019. Then he got hurt. Since he came back, all the blocks I remember of him are him getting decleated, thrown in the air, landing on his back. KJ Wright did it to him. Kevin Pierre-Louis did it to him in Washington. He's not the blocker he used to be. The best blocks I remember from a 49ers fullback H-back last year was Ross Dwelley coming across the formation and cracking Aaron Donald to seal a win against the Rams. That wasn't Juszczyk. I just don't see it. Juszczyk is about to be 30 years old. You just gave him a 5-year deal worth $27 million. Now, I know it's probably not really worth 5 years and you can get out of it, but seriously, guys, that was the number one thing you could do. Overpay a fullback that you're not even going to use. What's that? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it feels like a PR move. It feels like this couldn't have been your number one priority. Re-sign Kyle Juszczyk, the number one thing you wanted to do. No. You wanted to re-sign Trent Williams or Jason Verrett, and you weren't able to get them to commit to you before free agency started. So you went to Juszczyk, who is emotionally tied to the organization. When it looked like he wasn't going to come back at the end of the season, he was almost crying in his post-season press conference. Yeah, he's emotionally tied here. He'll play here. Plus, you pay him like he's a freaking impact player, like he's someone who plays 100% of the snaps as opposed to 40. So, yeah, you got him back, but it seems like a PR move Fans like him. He's got a cute little nickname, Juice. Juice is back. Great. You know, maybe if Dwelly had a cooler nickname, he could have replaced him with Juszczyk, but you brought back a fan favorite to distract the fans from the fact that you're not going to bring back Jason Verrett or Trent Williams. I don't think they care, John and Kyle. I think they were looking forward to the other guys. Kyle Juszczyk, he doesn't really move the needle. Like, oh my God, look out, Rams and Seahawks and Cardinals. Juszczyk's back in town. I like Juszczyk. He's a good player, but Kyle, you know you don't want to call plays for him. I don't know why you have him on the team. So you can say you have a fancy fullback. What is that? So you can just have a Pro Bowler on your offense because there's no other fullbacks in the league. It doesn't make any sense. But let's move on. Because that's all, you already did it. You already made the mistake. You can't move, you can't undo it. So let's talk about what this means for the rest of free agency. So John and Kyle, you once again overpaid for your fullback offensive weapon so no one else could have him. But when it comes to a real position that matters, left tackle, reportedly, according to Albert Breer, you're unwilling to go beyond $20 million per year. So you're willing to blow the competition out of the water when it comes to Kyle Juszczyk. But when it comes to Trent Williams, you draw the line at $20 million. Guys, John, Kyle, look at me. You thought $20 million was going to get it done? Who do you think you are? Do you guys think you're Super Bowl contenders? You honestly think you're Super Bowl contenders? Well, bless your little hearts, because your players don't. If Trent Williams honestly thought you were a Super Bowl contender, he might accept $20 million, which is way below market value for him. He's going to end up getting $23, $24 million a year because he's going to be the highest paid guy. Currently, the highest paid guy is getting 23. Why would he accept $3 million less for you? He's not emotionally tied to the 49ers the way Kyle Juszczyk seems to be, or the way Joe Staley was. No, this guy's not going to cry when he leaves the 40. He doesn't even know you guys. He wasn't even emotionally tied to Washington, where he spent 10 years. He couldn't wait to leave. I'm not passing any judgments on Trent Williams. He's allowed to be a Lone Ranger. Good for him. You should have known better. $20 million a year for a non-contending team in California with super high state taxes. No, it was never going to get done. So I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. You make these pitiful offers. Trent Williams, $20 million a year. Freaking DeForest Buckner, $18 million a year. These pitiful offers for all pro players. And then you blow people out of the water for Jerick McKinnon, Quan Alexander, Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, you'll really splurge on a linebacker coming off a torn ACL or a fullback who's 30, but a left tackle, an all-pro pass rusher, we just don't have it in our, sorry, man, we ain't got it today. So Trent Williams, he reportedly has a $20 million, he's reportedly drawing interest from the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. The way I look at it is neither of those teams really have to outbid the 49ers. They can make comparable bids. They can just, what do the Niners offer you? Okay, we'll match that. We match. Why would you want to play for the Niners and block Jimmy Garoppolo and his band of understudies when you could come play with us and block for Patrick Mahomes and look great? Why go back to the 49ers and play next to Laken Tomlinson, who stinks and yet calls himself part of the best left side of an offensive line in a league because you're on it, taking credit for you, when you can come to Indianapolis and play next to Quentin Nelson and really form the best left side of an offensive line in the league? What do you want to do, Trent? Did you like Santa Clara? Did you like living in Santa Clara? Did you like the Chick-fil-A that's there, the Five Guys, the In-N-Out Burger? That's what they got. Did you like that? Because you could come over here. We got the same chains for way cheaper taxes. So, guys, did you really think Trent Williams was going to come back for $20 million? Or did you just know he was going to go and give him some whack offer that you knew he was going to turn down and be like, well, we have our principles. We weren't going to offer more than $20 million anyway. Then why'd you trade for him? Why did you agree not to franchise tag him? Why did you put yourself in this position where he's just leaving for nothing? You're not going to get a comp pick for him. You could have had Tristan Wirfs last year. Instead, you were like, nah, let's trade for this guy and hope and pray he does us a solid and comes back under market value. That was never going to happen. He's not Joe Staley. What were you thinking? So now you're going to lose Trent Williams most likely. I don't know. It seems to me you should care. It seems to me this is catching you off guard. It seems to me that whatever was going on Twitter the other night, where Jed York got real emotional and John Lynch started tweeting about juice and stuff, it felt like you guys were really upset that Trent Williams wasn't coming back, and you tried to like spin it. Like, okay, well, let's make Niner fans happy about Juszczyk. Give them something to be happy about. Let's try to win the PR, the PR spin. Hey, who cares about Trent Williams? We wanted Juszczyk. Yeah, there you go. The thing is, I've been telling you, don't sign Trent Williams. He's too expensive. You can't afford him and Jimmy Garoppolo. It just seems like you expected him to come back for $20 million a year. Like, what? Really? That was never going to happen. Be honest. Be realistic here. But okay, I think it's good that you're going to let Trent Williams go. You don't need to spend quarterback money on that 33-year-old left tackle, even no matter how good he is. But here's the thing. What are you going to do? You're going to take that money and spend it on what exactly? I think you guys are starting to learn that you're not a free agent destination. Maybe you were last year, although you didn't bring anyone in. But you're a California team. Players don't want to pay these taxes. You know your players don't even buy land in Silicon Valley. They rent and then buy back home wherever they're from. And you got Jimmy Garoppolo. So no, I mean, yeah, you could definitely target Corey Linsley, some big time center, some big time guard. Why is he coming here unless you massively overpay? And I think that's what you're learning. You have to massively overpay to get people to come to your team. And that's why you overpay, rinky-dink positions like fullback, running back, because you got to overpay. If you're overpaying left tackle, now you're spending $30 million a year or close to it. If you're paying on a wide receiver or an offensive tackle, defensive end, it gets pricey. But you can do it on a linebacker or fullback, no problem. And that's what you do. So Jerick McKinnon, $30 million. It's a lot for Jerick McKinnon, but it's not a lot compared to what Trent Williams wants. Just don't do another Jerick McKinnon deal. We're all waiting for you guys, John, Kyle, to spend a lot of money on a running back. We all expect it. None of us are going to be surprised when it happens. So don't do it. Just don't, because you're dying to. As soon as Trent Williams signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, corresponding move is the Niners spent $100 million on Frank Gore. Don't do it. And here's the thing. This whole position you're in where you have some cap space, but you can't really use it, and you can't afford Trent Williams, but he doesn't really want to come back, and you're in this little limbo where you want to be contenders, but you can't really fill out your team the way you want to because free agents aren't playing ball with you. You know whose fault that is? Jimmy Garoppolo's. The reason you're not a free agent destination is Jimmy Garoppolo's fault. Because Trent Williams knows if he signs back here, what he's doing is hitching his wagon to Jimmy Garoppolo and his little band of understudies. And that changes every year, who the understudies are. But the understudies are important because they play just as much as Jimmy Garoppolo does. And what happens is you're blocking for Jimmy Garoppolo and you're doing, your blocking thing. Guys come in, you're like, oh, don't go there. Doing your thing, blocking. That's your job. And then Jimmy Garoppolo is just standing in the pocket, looking around, not knowing where the hell to go with the ball. So then he spins in a circle, still doesn't know where to go with the ball, spins back around in a circle, gets sacked, your fault. They blame you. Jimmy Garoppolo blames you. He's hurt. Now you got the backups in. Jimmy Garoppolo makes you look bad. And he's not even that good. He turns the ball over. He's not guaranteed to take you anywhere. He's expensive. He's taking money out of every player's pocket by not renegotiating his $27 million deal. What's the deal? What's the point? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of everyone's time. Jimmy Garoppolo. So Jason Verrett, I'll just go to a contender. Trent Williams, I'll just go to a contender. Unless you want to pay me $35 million a year, fine. I'm just going to go to a contender. This wouldn't have been an issue had the Niners just signed Tom Brady last year. I mean, Kyle John, I'm talking to you. You didn't like John. You didn't like Jimmy Garoppolo. You have been unwilling to give him an extension. You got an extension, Kyle. You got an extension, John. Everyone gets an extension except for Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't like him. Okay, so Tom Brady comes in and you're like, nah, I don't, nah. Players follow Tom Brady. Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. If you had Tom Brady, you wouldn't have to be spending $27 million a year on a fullback. You could be beyond the Kyle Juszczyk level. They'd be like, Kyle, thanks. Why don't you go to the Jets? Help build their culture. Help set a tone in the locker room. That's what you do. We got Rob Gronkowski, thanks. We have Tom Brady. Or if you had like traded for Deshaun Watson, done anything, Matthew Stafford, something, Carson Wentz, something. Jimmy Garoppolo, that's not nothing. That's nothing. The issue is that you brought him in, that you kept him too long, and if you keep him a little longer, he's going to get both of you fired, John and Kyle, both of you. That's the problem here. He's going to get you fired. And Kyle, I'm looking at your face right now. You're like, but I didn't want him. It was John's fault. I didn't want him. Baloney. It's your team, Kyle. How do you delegate the most important decision like that? You hired John Lynch. And then when the most important decision of your tenure presents itself to you to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo or not to trade for him, you just go, I don't know, John, whatever you want to do. That's what you did. Is that what you did? No, it's not what you did. You said, okay, let's do it. You know why? Because you liked Jimmy Garoppolo. You liked him. Don't lie, Kyle. Don't put it all on John. John's not a scout. You're the genius here. You're the expert. You're the one who knows everything. You liked Jimmy. You said you did. You liked his quick release. You liked his McKay. You loved the way he threw a football. You know you did. The problem, Kyle, is that you didn't know Jimmy. You didn't do your research. You didn't do your homework. You saw him on tape. You might have sat down with him for 15 minutes at the combine. Maybe you went out to dinner with him once. Liked him. But you didn't know him. You saw him on tape and liked the way he threw a football. That's the extent of your knowledge of Jimmy Garoppolo. You also knew that the Patriots didn't like him enough to keep him over Tom Brady. They liked him, they said, but they let him go and kept, 40-year-old Tom Brady. If Jimmy Garoppolo were Aaron Rodgers, Brady would have been out. If Jimmy Garoppolo were Steve Young, Brady would have been out because the Niners pushed out Joe Montana. The Packers pushed out Brett Favre. All you knew was the Patriots were 100% sold enough to move on from Tom Brady, and you bit. And what happened when you got him? What'd you learn? He's freaking Derek Zoolander. Yeah, he did throw a nice football before he tore his ACL. It ain't there. He does not have the football IQ that Kyle Shanahan is looking for. Why didn't you know that, Kyle? Because you didn't know Jimmy. You got played by the Patriots. You bring him in and you're like, man, you know what? Nick Mullins is smarter than him. CJ Beathard is smarter than him. He is not the quarterback between the ears that I was looking for, and we're committed. That's your fault, Kyle. You should have said no. We don't really know Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not that comfortable. I like the way he throws the ball, but I just can't vouch for him. At least I know Kirk Cousins. I know that he's what I'm looking for mentally as a quarterback. At least I know that. That would have been preferable to trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, who you really didn't know. And then you bring him in, you're like, oh, he's not smart enough for my system. Well, that's your fault. That's your fault. Don't blame John Lynch. Take ownership for it. It's the same issue with Dante Pettis. You didn't really know Dante. You saw him on tape. You liked his route running. You didn't know him. You brought him in. It's not going to work. That's why you only draft wide receivers and players now who did really well at the Senior Bowl that you can scout, that you can get a feel for. You don't want to make that mistake again. Well, you made that mistake with Jimmy. You didn't know what he was really made of mentally. You can't stand him in that sense. So move on. Now, the longer you hold on to Jimmy Garoppolo, the more likely it is that he's going to be the reason you get fired, Kyle. And I know you and John are both like, man, well, we got this great record with Jimmy Garoppolo. We move on and he plays well and we struggle. He's damaged goods. He's soft. He's brittle. He doesn't really seem to want to play that much anymore. You got to move on. You bring him back next year. He's gonna do it again. And that's going to really test Jed York's patience. I know he had that little emotional tweet where he said he loved you guys. Yeah, he loves you now. Is he going to love you if you go 5-12 next year? I don't know. He's not the most patient person. In fact, the fact that he's tweeting how much he loves you would make me question that. He loves you thinking things are going to be good next year. Are they going to be really good? So this is all Jimmy Garoppolo's fault. And when I say that, that's basically means it's all your fault, Kyle, because you should have listened to yourself. You knew you didn't really want him. You wanted Kirk Cousins. You'd seen something you liked from Jimmy Garoppolo, but you weren't 100% sold. You felt pressured. It was the trade deadline. John Lynch was excited. Bill Belichick, once in a lifetime opportunity. You said, yes, well, that's on you. You should have been prepared for him to call you like that. You weren't prepared. You made a decision that you regret every day, and you're paralyzed. You can't figure out what to do. You've been stuck in one spot for like years, and you're going to get fired eventually, and you'd be like, well, it was John's fault for trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. It was Jimmy Garoppolo's fault. He was hurt all the time. No, it was your fault, Kyle. You didn't stick to your guns. You brought in the biggest decision of your tenure with the 49ers. You delegated to John Lynch. That's your legacy. Didn't want to make the final call on a quarterback with the 49ers. Went 5 years in San Francisco without really ever deciding who he wanted at quarterback. That's you. So this is all happening because of that. When you have to say, we got Juszczyk. Yes, mission accomplished. Jimmy's fault. You had Tom Brady, you would be out of the Juszczyk arena. You wouldn't have to worry about Juszczyk. Anyway, go make some signings, call some people up, do better than Kyle Juszczyk. Do better today than yesterday. Goodbye. You're dismissed. Eduardo, this is between us. Let Trent walk. He's too pricey, not a leader in the locker room, and we need to fill the roster. We are handcuffed right now waiting for Trent. Yep. Deuces, Trent. I'm with you on that. But just sign someone better. Like, don't like let Trent leave so you can freaking give Kendrick Bourne a 7-year deal. You know what I mean? Get someone good. Not saying I would break the bank for Trent, but the fact that they won't extend or trade Jimmy will lead to them losing him and not signing others. Yep. That's true. Let's say it again. Not saying I would break the bank for Trent, but the fact that they won't extend or trade Jimmy will lead them to losing him and not signing others. Yeah, it's not Trent's. That's fine. Too expensive. What about Jason Verrett? I mean, he'd probably be, you could get him on a reasonable incentive-based contract if you were a contender, if you had a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's not going to do that for you. He's going to do that for Kansas City. He'll do that for Tampa, some team that he thinks is probably going to be in the Super Bowl, not you. So yeah, it all comes back to Jimmy, his contract, his lack of durability, and his just mediocre play all around. All right. They are going to celebrate Kendrick Bourne's resigning like Juice. Just watch. Oh, there's no question about it. And they're going to resign Bourne and Juszczyk because they want to be here. They want to be here. Like Jim Tom Sula. I love it here, man. I love Jonan payroll. I love the whole. All you got to do is say stuff like that. And Jed York is totally swayed. Oh my God, he likes our organization. Wow. Yeah, he likes me. He likes me. Oh, no one likes me. I never had friends. Oh, I love Kyle Juszczyk. Kendrick Bourne, he's one of the family. All you got to do is butter up Jed York a little bit. Oh, I want to be here. I want to be part of the family. That's what Joe Staley did for like 15 years. What do you think Joe Staley really thinks of Jed York? No one likes Jed York. You know, Jed York is that kid in high school, the rich kid in high school who has no friends, but like gives people stuff for free. You're like, oh, I'm trying to hang out with him, man. He gave you what? He gave you a sweater? He gave you all of his CDs. Dang, I need an hour with Jed. I'm eating lunch with Jed next month. On Tuesdays, me and Jed. That's Jed. And some people realize it. Oh, man, all you got to do is be kind of nice to Jed, even though he's the biggest geek in school, and he'll just give you stuff? Oh, I can do that. I can definitely do that. Jim Harbaugh couldn't do that. He's like, Jim Harbaugh's like, no, I'm the coolest kid in school. I don't do stuff like that. I'm not. A man has his standards. And you know what, Jim? I feel you on that. I wouldn't do that. Are you kidding? Kiss up to Jed? No. Joe Staley did it. God love you. Jim Tom Sula did it. Ha! Juszczyk's doing it. Kendrick Bourne trying to do it. It's a smart play. But then again, who is dying to play for the 49ers? If that's where you're at as an NFL football player, like clinging to the Yorks, maybe it's over. Maybe the dream is over. Maybe you should go become a high school quarterback coach. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's so obvious how these people figure it out. It's like, Jed, I love your stadium. I love your facility. I love your training staff. I love you. You're the best owner in sports. Jed's like, oh, you mean it? You really mean it? Oh, lifetime contract. Ring of Honor. It's the truth. It's the most insecure owner in sports. Frank Hanna says, can't blame John and Kyle for the injuries. He has been glass, and there was no way to predict that. It was Kirk or Jimmy. Who you got at the time? What do you mean there was no way to predict that, Frank? What do you mean there was no way to predict that, Frank? He played 2 games in New England. 2. Started 2, got hurt in the second one. He couldn't make it through 2 starts in New England. Yeah, there was a way to predict that. I mean, that's not proof that he's injury prone, but there was no evidence that he wasn't. It's not like, oh, well, he just played 3 seasons without getting hurt. No. He played 1 game without getting hurt. The second game got hurt. This was totally predictable. And it goes into the reason, like, why did the Patriots not get rid of Tom Brady for this guy? Well, that's part of it. The other thing is Derek Zoolander. That's the other part. That's what the Niners learned. And now they look like they got played by the Patriots, which they did. So at the time, if it was Kirk or Jimmy, who you got at the time? Kirk. Jimmy had started 2 games. He was not proven. And the thing is, after they traded for Jimmy and he did that miraculous 5-game run, great. Trade him now. Trade his ass now. You understand how many first-round picks they could have got for dude with 7 career starts? Like 3. Oh my God, take that. But no, they didn't do it. So they get what they asked for. I should go up to Jed and really ask him for a job. Be like, Jed, you got a really nice stadium here, man. This facility, the rugs, some nice rugs, man. Was that velvet? Is that velvet? Wow, you don't spare any expense around here. Man, I love the way that the sun just beats down on all those people over there in the west east side of the stadium who don't pay that much. Like, screw those people, man. I love the way you set up the stadium so all the rich people get shade and those people that don't. Yeah, man. Oh, man, I love how this team finishes last place every year except for like 2 years out of a decade. That is baller. I love how you've made this organization worth like $5 billion without ever winning or accomplishing anything. How do you do that, Jed? Can you teach me? It's so impressive. You are a tycoon. Like all these people in the Silicon Valley making fortunes by being good at their jobs and creating organizations that like succeed. You lose. You have the worst organization in Silicon Valley, and you also are the most rich organization. It's amazing, man. You are a business tycoon. Everyone else is over there trying to succeed and improve. You're like, why would you do that? Why would you raise the bar on yourself? Just continue to be a last place team and profit. You just sell hope. You don't sell excellence. Next year, we're going to be better. You know why? Because we have Kyle Juszczyk back. We got the juice. That's what Jed does. You got to love it. He's brilliant. He's made a lot of money. Grant, I'm scaring the children. Okay. I'm going to leave and see if Kyle and John make any more brilliant moves. I'll be back 2 o'clock with Vish and any emergency updates because the Niners made any moves. I'll be back. See you in about 3.5 hours. Take care. Good luck, John and Kyle. I'm watching.